Hola familia, feliz año nuevo. It is New Year's Eve. And I thought before the light disappears that I would kind of chat with you a little bit about what they eat here in Panama for the holidays. Maybe you're curious, right? You hear about rice, fried fish, but there are some specific dishes that must be on a Panamanian table for the holidays. The holidays, meaning the big ones, are Christmas, New Year, and Easter is a big one. And I noticed, and I'm speaking from a point of someone who is observing, who's out there, who's a cook, and see, because I'm always looking at channels and what people are cooking and eating. And for the holidays, there are certain dishes that are typically on every Panamanian table. And I told you a few weeks ago that the government had a program where they not donated, but they kind of subsidized like a bag or a box of certain food that are included um, in a Panamanian holiday table, I would say, right? So things like a ham, it's a must, right? Rice, always have rice, morning, noon, and night. Grandules, which is pigeon peas. You have to have that on a Panamanian table. And they had coconut milk. They put that in their rice. And there are certain other things that we're going to go over. Now, the second part of the video, I've taken some shots of the different foods. They may not all flow as I'm talking about them, but you can get a visual for what those food look like. Now, understand that Panama is a fusion, right? And not just culturally, but also, yeah, culturally, because food is culture. Definitely in the food section. When you are eating, when people who are foodies, right, and want to experience Panamanian cuisine, to me, it's a fusion because you do have the indigenous influence. Remember, they were here first. So lots of corn, fish, chicken, tamales, yuca. They do a lot of that. But yuca, not so much on the holiday table. And I don't know why. But you have that influence, the indigenous influence. Then you have the Spanish influence, a lot of things related to dishes with olives, right? The way they cook that leg of the pig, they put a lot of olives in there. And of course, rice. I tell someone that I read when I was preparing to the Peace Corps, and I was supposed to go to Madagascar, and I was doing some research, and it said that Madagascar has the highest consumption of rice per capita. I think Panama is neck and neck there because we eat a lot of rice here, just a little bit much, but if you ask any Panamanian what are the most important or popular food, they're gonna say el arroz and el pollo, bar none, right? So, so we do that indigenous influence in the food, but especially at holiday times. Then you have also the Afro-Panamanian influence, things from Africa. Sometimes they'll do the sancocho. And remember, the sancocho is a soup that originated in Africa, and every country in the Caribbean and South America has a version of it and calls it something different. But when you look at it, the roots are, from Africa, and, telling you that we're kind of interrelated, right? So, what are some of the food that you're going to see on a Panamanian table during the holiday? Okay. You are going to see there is this round bread we call rosca. It is a kneaded breaded kind of bread. It's round, even though they still make it. You could see it in the store throughout the year. But especially on the holiday, there has to be the round bread on that table. It could be it's an egg kind of bread, but sometimes they'll put almonds in it, almendras, and I keep saying Ruby Tuesday, but Ruby Smith, that chain of food store that tends to cater to international resident visitors. They were playing around this year with different flavors. Like they had like one that sounded like a focaccia. They had a vegetable, they had an herb one, some with olive oil, but the classic is either a plain one or one with almendras. Okay. And I heard this person say one of her memories from childhood is probably the next day, whether it's Thanksgiving Day after or Christmas Day after or New Year's Day after, is to cut a piece of that round bread and then put a piece of ham, leftover ham. So that is something that you're going to see on a table. The ham, bar none, they're going to have ham. They slice it, they put all the stuff in it, mustard, honey, pineapple, orange juice. You can cook it all kind of ways. If you were to check on YouTube how some people are making it. So ham, cured ham, okay? But then you can make a fresh ham, which is like a leg of a pig called pierna de cerdo. Cerdo means pork. Pierna is a leg. So if you were to go to San Felipe, the meat market, you're gonna see in the pork section, big, leg of the pig, and then they take the skin off with the fat, and then they slice, they cut through it so they can put all the spices in there. And I watched a lady make it. There's a lot that goes into that pierna. And of course, they put it in the oven and then they cook it down. They have wine and olives and all kinds of things and mustard. So that is a given. Fresh ham and cured ham. And then in terms of other meat, they also do costillas, which are ribs, right? So when I was at San Felipe earlier this week, people had pre-ordered and you would see bags, bags of them, because Panamanians are so family oriented. Everybody is trying to get to a gathering, a family gathering. So when you are cooking, you're not cooking for 8, you're cooking for like La Familia, right? So there is a lot of pork that is eaten. Not so much beef this time of year. I went to San Felipe earlier this week and there was hardly any beef because it's like pork, lots of pork. People buying the costillas, the ribs, and the pierna, right? Because on a day-to-day basis, in terms of pork, they cook chuletas, which are like thin pork chops. They would do that a lot. But during the holidays is the leg and the ham. The other thing that you're going to see on a Panamanian table, you might see is a pavo, which is a turkey. When I first moved to Panama, I thought they didn't eat turkey, but they do, because you'll find lots of butterball here in Panama, a lot of breasts. You may not find legs. You may not find turkey legs except around this time of the year. Because I remember last year I looked and I didn't see any until this year. Now, after the holidays, you may find some whole turkeys, pavo, but it's not, as as prevalent or visible as during this holiday. And of course, they cook it in the oven like we do, no problem. Sometimes some people, if they can't afford the turkey, because the turkeys were like $35, they'll buy a whole chicken and they cook it in the horno. Horno is the stove, oven. So I remember I went to the San Felipe and I was asking the lady, because on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of cut chicken in salsa, in sauce, or asado, meaning grilled. But during the holiday, they cook it whole. I guess it makes it more festive. Okay? So pollo entero, meaning the whole chicken. So I see they were selling some chorizo. Panamanians make their own chorizo, which is the meat, and then they put all the spices and put it in casing and then tie it. That is something that they cook. So they might have some of that on the table. I don't see that Panamanians are so much into grilling, even though some people might grill, especially expats who come here. there's a lady who was in an apartment, and she's like, she couldn't wait to get into a home because in my building, you're not allowed to have a barbecue, a grill, because it's a fire hazard. But if you're in your home, you can. So, but it's not something, the grill meat, the grilled chicken that I see, it's like in a commercial space, like at a fonda, like Fonda El Motete, my favorite fonda. They do have a big grill in the back, and then they cook the chicken. I tried it one time. It was salty and overcooked, so I was good. But for the holidays, it's whole. All right, what else do we have on the table? There is a salad, a potato salad that is a holiday salad. Ensalada de fiesta, that they have the potato salad with the mayonnaise when um, the egg, the boiled egg, but they cut up beets and add it to it to give it a red color. Where I come from, we call it salad russe, like a Russian potato salad. But that is something you will find on a Panamanian holiday table, the red potato salad. The other thing you're gonna see on the table is the rice. Arroz con guandu. Listen, that would be a cardinal sin if there was no arroz on that table, okay? So arroz con guandu. And guandu are those small little pigeon peas. And I just read someone asking about black-eyed peas, and someone said they sell black-eyed peas. I don't know. I don't look for it. But the guandu is a small, they come in green, and then I think they have them also in black. Whether the green turns to black, I'm not sure. And I know someone's gonna correct me, my Panamanian friends, por favor, adelante. Because all I'm saying is from observation. I'm not a local, that is a disclaimer. There is no intention to anything, just saying, if you were to be invited to a Panamanian home meal, that's what you would see, okay? The other thing you're gonna see on that table are lots of fruit. I mean, I don't understand it. During the holidays, they love to have fruits on the table. Grapes, green, red, pears, apples, berries, oranges, mandarin, all kinds of fruit, which I love because fruits are good for you. But veggies, not so much. I don't know what it is about the diet here. I see lots of veggies, carrots that we could put it in the soup, potatoes that could put it in the soup. But if you're looking for like green, I mean, they have spinach, but I don't ever see it in any food. So I'm not sure where they put it, but I always buy it because it's really affordable, like $1 for a pack. And you've seen how the spinach comes like with the stem. It's not just the plucked leaves, which I like that. That means it comes from the earth. I like that part. So not many vegetables. Maybe you'll see a small salad, lettuce, tomatoes, but it's not always. It's not a main part of that table, okay? The other thing you're gonna see is the sarir. The sarir is that red flour that you boil, which has its origin in Jamaica because they call it frol de Jamaica, el sarir, and the Jamaicans call it sorrel. And they make the sorrel with the hibiscus flower, but here we get the fresh flour. Not flour, yeah, flour. And you cook it with, I apologize, I should have had it out, but you buy a bag. This is $1. This is a bag of fresh saril. You take the pit out, you boil the flour. Muy bonito, see? And you take the pit out. You take this out, right? And you keep the flour. And then the way I do it, after I boil it down, then I add, and they sell it to you with some pihembre, which is ginger, which is great. And you need that ginger, that peppery taste. And we put cinnamon, I put star anise, and I put allspice, and someone said to add like, I think the Jamaicans do, they add like orange peel. It's gonna be good, right? But in Panama, we sweeten it with raspadura, which is the block sugar cane that, and then you sweeten it like that. Well, I made some for Thanksgiving and it was so good. And I was kind of craving it, so I bought some for myself to treat myself to bring in the new year. Why not? So tomorrow, this friend and I, we're gonna cook our soup. So I'll hopefully stream live it for you guys. But the other thing you're gonna see at a Panamanian table is sometimes they'll make their own sangria. And you know, sangria is some kind of alcohol, wine, and then you add like some kind of juice, maybe grape juice or ginger ale, and then you load it with fruit and you do it and you let it soak maybe 1 or 2 days, and then you get sangria. Well, this year I got lazy and I got that. Actually, it's pretty good. It's just kind of really sweet. And then one thing that has to be on a Panamanian table is a ron ponche. Ron ponche is rum punch. But sometimes they add some flavoring to it. And this friend gave me this and it's got coffee in it. And it's really good, but it's sweet. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Oh. And then, of course, they have their Malta, you have soda, you have water, and you can have other types of wine as well. So I think that's everything. And then I'm gonna show you the pictures as I talk about the food again. But this is what you would find on a Panamanian table around the holidays. And then you're going to have música, La Familia, and sometimes they'll do a sancocho, right? The sancocho is a national dish of Panama, which I absolutely love that soup. Originates from Africa, and it is very simple. It's also called a hangover soup. Nothing not to like. It's easy to cook and it's yummy. It's really flavorful and brothy. So if you go to any restaurant in Panama, you're going to find el sancocho, right? Because it's almost like if you don't have it, you're not Panamanian, right? And if you go in there, the older folks, everybody is having a bowl of sancocho. The younger folks, not so much. But people like me, my age, yeah, we love the sancocho. It's great. So remember that you're going to have the rosca, which is the round bread. You're going to have ham. You're going to have turkey. You're going to have pork. You're going to have ribs. What do we call that? That is what we call them. But anyway, pork ribs. And then you're going to have the rice and guandu. Cannot not have rice with guandu, potato salad. The one thing I forgot to say, tamales for that indigenous flair. Tamales are made, they take the banana leaf and then they ground corn. That's where the work comes in. Grounding the corn takes time. And some ladies are specialists in it. And I found a place they say I can get one. And then when I'm eating it, unwrapping it, I'll do a short video or live. And I don't think I've had a tamale yet. And it is a ground corn, and then they do like a sofrito with onions and peppers and some kind of tomato sauce. They put it on top, and they add chicken or cerdo, pollo or cerdo, chicken or pork on the tamale, and then they put olives. And then there's a debate as to whether they should add pasas, which are raisins, in the tamale, and then they close it. There's a skill. It's a skill on how to wrap that tamale, flip the leaves on the side, and then there's a string, and you tighten it, and then you put them in a pan of boiling water. You boil it. But remember, it's just to make it tighten up because everything is cooked, right? So was the corn cooked? I'm not sure. I've never made tamales. But this is something that is super popular here in Panama. And that also will be on the table. So rice, tamales, they don't have fried plantains on the holiday table. Oh, but they do have plátanos tentación, which is maduros, which is ripe bananas that they cook and caramelize it in sugar, butter, and cinnamon. People say it's yummy, but to me, that is really sweet. I don't like sweet stuff, so I haven't. But that's super Panamanian. Plátanos tentación, tamales, arroz con guandú, el pavo, the turkey, el jamón, the ham, pierna de cerdo, fresh leg of the pig, sarir. Oh, I didn't talk about sarir. Yeah, we talk about sarir. Sarir is the red drink. We call it sorrel in Jamaica. We call it sarir. Chicha de sarir. Chicha in Spanish here means drink of. Okay, so and then you're gonna have your rum punche, and you're gonna be nice and happy between the punche and the sangria. You're gonna be happy. And everybody is pretty much out of the city, going somewhere to be with family, carrying their suitcases. Yes, yes. So tomorrow, they may not be back in time. It's the second. And tomorrow would be what? Is it Thursday? Maybe, the banks will open on Friday. Every bank has their own schedule of reopening. And whenever they reopen after a holiday, they reopen later than that 11 o'clock that they open. 12:30. Make sure you remember that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you because, it's all part of getting acculturated. You learn the culture, you understand why they're eating the red potato salad. I'm not sure what the origin is. I need to look into that. But everything else, is just comes from indigenous Spanish, Africa, Caribbean. And then for the Chinese, the Asian influence, they use a lot of soy sauce when they're cooking like their meat. And also sometimes I see them cook a fried rice where they put the egg in it like the Spanish do. But sometimes on the table, you might see some of the dumplings, Is it Mai Tai? They have one that they sell around here, and I'm going to show you about that. Where they put pork in it, and then it's a dumpling. Every little mini super, which is like a little bodega, a little small convenience store, they'll have a thing, a steamer with the sumai, they call it. Yeah, a type of um, dumpling that they sell here. I think they're like 2 for $1, and Panamanians love it. The kids love it. I think I tried it one time when I was visiting. Alrighty, so enjoy the pictures. Maybe I'll just put some music and just so you can just kind of see the pictures. And when we went to San Felipe, people buying and everything that's available as they're shopping for the big day. It's a day of family, just spending time with your loved one. They are really big on that. In fact, there is a woman who was showing something out of Medellin, Colombia. I think it was Christmas Day. She was like, look at this road. It was empty, deserted. Everybody was somewhere with family. So I hope you have a good new year. Let 2026 be a decisive year for you. Let's walk into it with gratitude and determination to, like I said, stay in the fight and don't let circumstances get the best of you. All right. So I'll see you in the next video. Au revoir. Bye. Just stay for the pictures. Okay. Bye bye. All right, friends. So now I'm going to show you the foods that I just talked about that you're going to see on a Panamanian table during the holidays. First, we start with going to the store, San Felipe, where everybody is looking for stuff, looking for the meat. Oh, this is the saril with the ginger, mounds of it, mounds of it. And these are the banana leaves where they make the tamales. And that place is always hopping, okay? when you go in there before the holidays, and they give you a lot of that saril for $1, and they include the ginger in it. Then you walk across and you're looking at the meat choices. Look at that. Those are the ribs, right? The cuts of meat, mostly pork this time. Some chorizos. Some people would do that. Oh, this is that leg of the pig with the ham. Look at that. How succulent. Look at those ribs. Very nicely done. And they take their time to season that stuff around the holidays, okay? So everything is nice and tasty. Oh, see, I don't eat pork, but that looks amazing. Look at that ham. I can't do ham either. Too salty for me. But I would try those ribs. And of course, you have the turkey, el pavo. Yes, that looks, that's a good one. Yes, very nice. Very nice. And this is the sancocho. Sometime you're gonna see a sancocho on the table. There you have the tamale. Oh my God. And the red potato salad. Yes. Arroz con guandú. That's what it would look like. Those are the guandú, which is pigeon peas. And they get expensive around the holidays. I think it was like six. Last year, I paid $9 a pound for the peas. Oh my goodness. Plátanos tentación. Look at that. Oh my God, that's just too sweet for me. But that is a staple dish here in Panama. Yes. And you get the saril. Look at that. That stuff was so good. And there's the rasca, more saril. And you can look for this the rest of the year. You're not going to find and more rasca. We cut it up this time. And with a little bit of ice, oh, so refreshing. So, so refreshing. But the rasca, I hurt myself with it. I ate it. It is so good with coffee, not just with the ham that the lady said, but no bueno for me. And the drinks, sangria and ron ponche. Yes, sangria, you can make it. Ron ponche, different flavors and fruits. I told you, on the table, you're going to have lots of fruits. It's a must to have fruit. Sangria you can make. And I think we make a version of the ron ponche with rum, but we use a lot of coconut milk. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. Yes. Muchas frutas. Now you see I didn't put any vegetables because it's not a thing in Panama, unfortunately. La rosca, salir, jijambre, ginger, yes. Más rosca, tamales, ensalada de fiesta, arroz con guandú, more guandú, el pavo en el horno, el pavo, turkey, plátanos, bendición, and more drinks. So you get the gist, you get the idea of what I'm trying to impress here, that Panamanians have to have certain things on their table. That's their tradition, that's their culture, and they love to hang on to their culture. So I hope you enjoy this expose just so that you understand. Bye.